For thousands of years, there's one question that has haunted humanity more than any other. What happens after we die? Well, the ancient Egyptians didn't just ask the question, they dedicated their entire civilization to answering it. And they left behind a guide, not a single book, but a collection of secrets. A key, really, designed to unlock the very gates of eternity. So let's step back in time together and unseal this ancient map to the afterlife. I mean, really think about that for a moment. What if you held in your hands a guide, not for navigating this world, but for the journey your soul would take after your last breath? A scroll filled with the exact words you'd need to find your way through the darkness, to face down demons, and to stand, unafraid, before the gods. Well, that was the incredible purpose of the texts we now call the Book of the Dead. Now, that might sound a little strange to us, but that's not some modern title we've given it. That's the actual name of one of the chapters, Coming Forth by Day. You see, that was their beautiful way of describing rebirth, of rising into a new existence, just like the sun. And it tells you everything you need to know about this collection. This wasn't abstract philosophy. It was a deeply practical, you could even say magical, toolkit for the soul's most important journey. And here's something absolutely crucial to understand. There was never just one Book of the Dead. That name, it's a modern invention. In ancient Egypt, each scroll was a personalized collection of spells and guides, custom-made for one specific person. No two were ever exactly alike. But they all shared that one profound goal: to make sure the soul didn't just survive death, but actually triumphed over it. So to really understand this guide, we first have to get our heads around the Egyptian idea of what a person even is. And for them, you weren't just a body and a soul. Oh no, you were a complex assembly, a collection of different spiritual and physical parts, and each one had its own destiny after you died. And this is just a critical concept. They believed death wasn't just an ending, it was a shattering. The self literally fell apart. The spells in the book you see, they were the magical force, like a divine glue, that you needed to gather all those scattered pieces of yourself and become whole again. It was, in essence, an act of magical recreation. First off, you have the cot. That's the physical body. And this is why mummification was so incredibly important. It wasn't just about preserving a corpse. The mummified cot served as a permanent anchor, a kind of home base in the physical world that your spirit could always find its way back to. Without the body, your soul was just adrift. And then there was the ultimate goal, to become a Chu. Now, this was so much more than what we think of as a soul. This was a transfigured, glorified spirit. The old texts describe it as glittering, splendid, glorious. This was the perfected you, an eternal being made of pure light, finally worthy of living among the gods and the stars. But to reach that glorious state, the soul first had to face the most terrifying, most dramatic moment of its entire journey, a trial that would decide its fate for all of eternity. This was the final judgment, a moment of profound moral reckoning. And this wasn't some chaotic event. It was a highly structured, formal proceeding, like a celestial court. First, the soul enters the Great Hall. Then, to prove its knowledge, it had to call out each of the 42 divine judges by their secret names. After that came the negative confession, a great declaration of innocence, leading finally to the ultimate test, the weighing of the heart. Just listen to the power in these statements. I am not a talebearer. I cause no famine. I am not one who telleth lies instead of truth. This wasn't simply denying a list of sins. It was a powerful assertion of a moral life well lived. It shows us the deep ethical code they lived by, a code they believed reached far beyond the grave. And the stakes? Well, they couldn't have been higher. If your heart, which they saw as the seat of your conscience, was lighter than the single feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, you were declared true of voice and welcomed into eternal life. But if your heart was heavy with wrongdoing, it was fed to the monster, the devourer, Amet, and your soul wasn't sent to some hell. No, it was annihilated, wiped from existence, total and complete oblivion. Now, for the soul that passed this incredible test, for the one found to be true of voice, an unimaginable paradise was waiting, a reward of perfect peace and life without end. You know, their vision of heaven wasn't some abstract city of gold in the clouds. It was a perfect reflection of the world they loved, They called it the Field of Aru. Imagine the Nile River Valley at its absolute best, endless fertile fields, no drought, no hunger, just eternal abundance and peace, a place where the gods themselves provided for your every need. But an eternity of peace wasn't the only prize. The justified soul also received a truly godlike power, the ability of transformation. And this was the ultimate freedom, the power to leave your human form behind and become anything you wished, to travel the entire cosmos at will.
And the forms they could take were pure poetry. You could become a divine hawk, soaring high above the world, or a crocodile, embodying ancient primal strength. You could even become a lotus flower, the very symbol of rebirth itself. This wasn't just about changing shape, it was about experiencing all of creation as a perfected, eternal being.
And yet, for all that we've managed to decipher, a deep and profound mystery still sits at the very heart of the Book of the Dead. We have this incredible guide, but parts of the map are missing, shrouded in a darkness that even after all this time, we still can't seem to penetrate.
And that's not just my opinion. This comes from the scholar P. Lepage Renouf, one of the foundational sources for our entire modern understanding of these texts. And he says it plainly. The texts we have are damaged, corrupted by millennia of copying and decay. Some sections are simply broken beyond any hope of translation.
He even wrote at one point in French, "La fin de ce chapitre est absolument inintelligible." The end of this chapter is absolutely unintelligible. Think about that. This isn't just a tricky phrase, it's a complete dead end. The world's foremost experts look at these sacred words and have to admit, we simply don't know what this means. And this is perhaps the deepest part of the mystery. The confusion is ancient. Renouf suggests that even the scribes who were copying these texts thousands of years ago might have already lost the original meaning. They could have been just copying symbols and sounds they didn't fully grasp. The secrets were already fading, even then. So what we're left with isn't a complete instruction manual. It's something far more mysterious, more poetic. It's a map to eternity with whole continents missing. It points toward these incredible wonders, these divine landscapes of the soul. But the path is faded, leaving us to guess at the profound truths that have been lost forever to time. The entire spiritual world of the Egyptians was a monumental effort to conquer oblivion with language, to build a bridge to forever out of sacred words. And that leaves us with a truly haunting question. What happens to a soul when the very spells meant to save it, when the map to its salvation has itself faded into silence?